What's up, ladies and gentlemen, Universal Mastery. Welcome back to my channel. What I do here is I break down the occult sciences and I break them down to a practical level so that you can use them and apply them in your day-to-day life and get results simply by using your awareness, okay? So let me just give you an idea of who you're getting this information from. My name is Jeremiah Schwartz. I am a professional occultist. I am fully initiated in Kabbalah, being the top of the tree, the bottom, and then the backside. I'm studied when it comes to the 22 archetypal tarot, and I'm also studied when it comes to planetary energies in regards to astrology. Okay, this is just to give you an idea of who you're getting this information from, just so that you understand you're getting it from an actual practitioner. Okay, so the topic of today's video is something that has been requested in my comment section. I am aware of the person who had left this comment, and there was, quite a few people that liked it. So I guess it's a subject that people want to know more about, and it is a cool subject. I'm more than happy to talk about it. So today's topic is going to be in regards to the tunnels of Set and the spiders that reside within the tunnels of Set. So this, first and foremost, is a subject that is not really covered by many occultists at all, okay? This is a very secret subject. Once again, there's a lot of occultists that don't even know about the spiders that reside in the tunnels of Set, which really tells a lot about the occultists, kind of showing that they're not really that high-level occultists or initiates. The spiders that reside in the tunnels of Set are 100% real. They will show up, and it's a very prominent aspect of Universe B, and once again, specifically the tunnels of Set. So if you want to know a little bit more about the tunnels of Set and the spiders that reside within those tunnels, how they manifest, what their purpose is, how can you use them to your benefit, then definitely this is your video. Stay tuned. Okay, so let's start here. So the tunnels of Set, once again, just to make sure you understand where the tunnels of Set are located in Kabbalah. Let me pull the tree out very quickly. So this is the Kabbalah tree of life. Okay, once again, if you are studied of my channel, you'll understand that these pillars that you're seeing on this sheet specifically are inverted. Once again, this is the left pillar, this is the right pillar. You're facing me, this is my left hand. As you can see, the left pillar on this side is inverted and the right pillar on this side is inverted. This is my left hand, this is my right hand. This should be the white pillar, this should be the black pillar. Okay, you're facing me. Now, if I inverted it like what you're seeing on here, you would be looking at the back of my head. So what many occultists don't understand, and many people getting into the occult don't understand, is that this is very dangerous to invert these pillars, because when you're performing rituals based off this inverted pillar Kabbalah, which you'll find in any of the other occult, or literally any of the other occult orders, going all the way from the Golden Dawn to the Freemasons to the Rosicrucians to the Knights Templars to, I mean, you name it, all the other occult orders, okay? They're using the inverted pillars, and all of their rituals are based off this inversion. So what they are unaware of, and what many people are unaware of, is that when you reverse these pillars, once again, you're working with the back side of this tree. Just like, since this is my left hand, this is my right hand, if I was to switch these, that means I would have to completely turn around. So now you're seeing the back of my head. So that means there is an actual backside of this tree. And it's true, there is a backside of this tree, and it has been studied by occultists. For example, Kenneth Grant, he came to the realization that there is a backside of the Sephiroth. And on the backside of the Sephiroth was the tunnels of Set. And Kenneth Grant has a whole book discussing that called The Night Side of Eden, which you can literally find for free in PDF format And Kenneth Grant was an apprentice of Aleister Crowley, okay? So he continued teaching the occult sciences after Aleister Crowley had passed away. And Kenneth Grant spent a lot of time, energy, and focus into the Universe B aspects of Kabbalah itself, once again being the tunnels of Set and the Qliphothic realms. So he really spent a lot of time in the tunnels of Set. And once again, there's a whole book on it. He has a book called The Night Side of Eden, which literally goes through all of the tunnels of Set, which are the same tunnels as the Sephirothic ones. There's 22 archetypal tunnels associated with the major arcana of the tarot. But when you have this inversion, you flip the tree around. So this would be the backside of the tree. Now these 22 tunnels, rather than being the regular 22 tunnels of emanations and archetypal transformation, they now turn into shadow tunnels. And this is where the term tunnels of Set comes into play. Set is a chaos entity. Set is a chaotic force, a demonic force. Okay, so now all these tunnels get turned into the shadow aspect of what you would typically see on the front side of the tree of life, being the Sephiroth. Okay, so not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but if you are working with this tree, thinking you're in Universe A, working through the regular 22 archetypal tunnels, making occult progress in your initiatory journey, that's great if you're going to be, actually doing that and making progress, actually having the right foundation of information and initiating yourself through these pathways and these archetypal, once again, tunnels. That's great if you're going to do that. But if you think you're initiating through these regular Universe A Sephirothic tunnels, but you're actually working with the inverted pillars, and now you're working on the backside facing the tunnels of Set, that can be a problem because you think you're in Universe A, you think you're working with the regular 22 emanations of spiritual initiation, when in reality, you're in the tunnels of Set, which is Universe B, and these tunnels that are the typical emanations are now flipped and inverted into the shadow aspects of these archetypal tunnels. So it would be the tarot, the 22 tarot, but the shadow aspects, reversing them, typically. So that means that if you are unaware of what you're doing and you're getting all your information from an occult order that is basing their practices from this inverted Kabbalah, which you'll literally see in every occult order's book. They have the wrong pillars and they're performing their rituals, visualizing, using these wrong pillars. And with the inversion of the pillars, the spheres are inverted too. So these three spheres should be on this side and these three should be on this side if you want to work with the front of the tree. Okay? And then they're also standing in the wrong directional systems. So north, east, south, and west is all fucked up for them as well. So this is just a huge formula for disaster. And that's why most occultists that get into occult practices have shitty ends. It's because they're using this wrong system. It's that simple. Okay. So with that being said, once again, this is giving the clarity of there is the true tree where these pillars, this one's over here and then this one's over here. Now you're working with the front, 22 regular archetypal paths, and then you invert them. Now you're working on this tree flipped backwards, and then that's where the tunnels of Set reside, okay? Which once again, the tunnels of Set are very powerful, and there's a lot you can gain within the tunnels of Set, but if you're getting dumped into the tunnels of Set, and you don't realize you're getting dumped into the tunnels of Set, and then you're performing rituals in the wrong directionary system, pretty much programming your energy body to be destroyed, not recognizing what you're actually doing, that once again is a formula for disaster, and that's what screws a lot of people up. But if you are a real occultist, and I mean the elite occultists that have that deep intuitive sense that says, you know what, I'm not going to follow any orders. I'm gonna let my intuition guide me. and I'm going to invoke the forces of the clip-off and tunnels of Set on my own to see where the source within myself guides me, which was my case. I never performed any rituals coming from an occult order. And that's why I was successful on my journey. And there's many other occultists that can't say the same thing, but I do know other occultists that have the same, that walk down the same path as I did. There's not many that I know, not many at all, but they are out there. And there is that common theme. The occultists that go and jump right into these other orders to try and begin their occult practices, they're the ones that end up fucked later down the road. And then the ones that trusted their intuition and were real seers, were real shamans, they always went straight to the source of the power themselves. They studied the system. They gained they had an intuitive pull towards the spirits that were making themselves known to them. Because remember, this entire system of initiation, Tree of Life initiation, is governed by spirits. It's governed by demonic forces, angelic forces, and that's pretty much it. And all different types of like elemental forces, but that's like the lesser forces. So, for example, every one of those tunnels is associated with a certain type of spirit, okay? So in the tunnels of Set, every one of those tunnels has a specific name, and that is a specific demonic force. And then when you're working on Universe A, the front of the tunnels, the spirit more so is going to be the archetypal energy of the tarot itself. And then you'll be dealing with a lot of angelic forces, because the angelic forces rule the spheres of the Sephiroth, the front side, the Universe A side. Okay, so once again, if you know what you're doing and you initiate yourself intentionally into the tunnels of Set, and you are not, following all this inverted information, there is a lot of power. I mean, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot of potential and power that you can gain within those tunnels. I mean a lot. But at the same time, you will be challenged on levels and 2 degrees that you have never experienced before, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually. So there is a price to, gaining the power that is within those tunnels. And a lot of people do not have what it takes to do that successfully. But for the ones that do, you end up gaining abilities that are beyond what most humans can fathom, in regards to complete immunity from psychic warfare, literally immortality, spiritually speaking, the ability to choose when you want to die, from intent, the ability to completely control ritual magic with intent, meaning your intent dumps into the quantum wave function and manifests as a very complex ritual, rather than necessarily having to go through all of the steps and say all the right incantations and do all the right visualizations. It's simply your intent that then creates the ritual in a very dynamic and scientific, physics-based way, just from your intention, okay? And that's all offered within the tunnels of Set, and you gain the powers of the demonic forces within them. So you'll know that the tunnels of Set are associated with a lot of diseases. So as you gain the powers from the demonic forces within the tunnels of Set, you now have the ability to use the tunnels of Set as a form of psychic warfare, or as a form of psychic healing, meaning you can heal those diseases that are associated with the tunnels of Set, and you can use the same technology to cause those diseases on your enemies and things in that nature, okay? So there is another book by Kenneth Grant. I'm forgetting the exact name, but it's in regards to the spider. I'm forgetting the exact name, but the spider that I believe he channeled was called Obea, or something in that nature. You can look it up. Look up Kenneth Grant and spiders, or Kenneth Grant and spider on Safari or Google. Kenneth Grant wrote an entire book on this spider that he channeled. And he claims he got all this gnosis and information and knowledge from this spider. And he did, he did get some valuable information. from this spiritual entity that was a spider. Me personally, I would no chance I would spend my time and energy channeling a spider and, making a whole book on that. But, long story short, he did get some value out of that. There was some stuff, obviously you can't, when you're channeling different spirits, you can't take everything they're saying 100% for what it sounds like it is. You have to have discernment. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know that you're talking to a force of nature that potentially may want to take advantage of you, that potentially was created to mislead. So when you approach the occult as an apex predator or as someone who is completely ruthless, which comes from Carlos Castaneda's series, where he talks about one of the main principles for being a successful, most powerful type of shaman is to be ruthless. And that's true. So when you approach the occult being ruthless, you're approaching entities and spirits and everything in that nature, trying to suck them dry of their power. And that's what a lot of occultists mistake. They forget that. They forget that they need to approach the occult realm in that manner. And that's why, if you study, a lot of them die in ritualistic years, meaning Aleister Crowley died on, I believe it was 1947. And the number 11 is associated with the hidden sphere, Dath, which is the Hebrew for death. So that means that Aleister Crowley's death was ritualistic in nature, meaning if he was as powerful as he said he was, or if he was as powerful as everyone thinks he is or was, he wouldn't have died on that ritualistic year, that number for death. That means he was ritualistically sacrificed and his energy was sent somewhere else to be siphoned. Same thing with Kenneth Grant. You can study the year when he died, and it adds up to 11 as well. Which is the ritualistic death date. So that's a sign right there that they were missing certain keys to occult success. Okay? But back to what I was saying, Kenneth Grant did write an entire book on these spiders, and he connected these spiders to be residing within the tunnels of Set. So the tunnels of Set, where can I show you some real life examples of where these spiders appear in our day-to-day life, where we can see examples of this manifesting? Because this information of these spiders within the tunnels of Set, this is well known by the real elitists, the real elite occultists like myself and other people like me. Meaning the people that use occult technology, not the inverted occult technology. They understand the spiders within the tunnels of Set because they're very important to understand, because you can use them to your benefit. You can use them in a very potent and powerful way. So we have the movie The Matrix. This is a great example of the spiders of Set literally thrown right in your face. Most people have no idea about the spiders. They have no idea what it meant, what it means. They just think it's a movie. But basically, you have Neo, who takes the red pill, wakes up, has this Kundalini awakening, so to speak. His sexual energy surges through his body. Remember that silver fluid goes through his arm, travels up, goes through his head. Silver being associated with the moon, being also associated with the first, not the second sphere of initiation. So this is the physical plane, Malkuth, and then you come up here into Yesod. This is the moon. This is the first step into the mass collective unconscious and your subconscious, ruled by the moon. So that's what was going on in the Matrix movie when he took that red pill to wake up and he started seeing what reality really was, and because he chose the red pill. And that was basically symbolic for him taking his first step through the initiatory process. And silver is associated with the moon. Okay? That's why that silver liquid came through him. So then he wakes up, realizes the world that he was in was a matrix, and he wakes up in this shell. Okay, the shell is going to be an example of the clip-off. So if you've seen the movie The Matrix, the first one, you'll see that he wakes up in a shell. and that would be here, okay? So basically what was waking up in that shell was his soul. That's symbolic of his soul. So the real world is the matrix. That's the true real world. So when he wakes up in that shell, that's symbolic of his soul. That's starting the process of unshelling itself, waking up and getting out of the shell. So once again, this is the Sephiroth. Flip it upside down. This is the Qliphoth, which is Hebrew for shells, okay? So then Neo punches through the shell, and then all that liquid comes out of the shell. So the liquid is going to be connected to soul fluid. So that is the soul fluid is what you need to be able to remote view with intent. So you need to have first a connection to your soul, and then you need to have soul fluid. You can think of the soul fluid as the soul's energy to be able to travel outside of your body. So remote viewing is sending your astral body, I like to call it the daemon, sending your daemon to go and do things in the real world that actually take a physical effect. So you're remote viewing it. It's happening in the time-like space. It's happening on the astral. Whether you're destroying something or creating something, you can use that. And if you have a strong enough connection with your soul is powerful enough, and you have an excessive amount of soul fluid, what you're visualizing your remote viewing body doing will literally take a physical effect. So when Neo breaks out of that shell and all that soul fluid spills out, that's the soul fluid releasing itself. So the soul fluid was shelled. It was prevented from being able to come out of the shell. So he breaks out of it. And you'll notice that as soon as he breaks that shell, there is a robot that comes over to him. So remember, he wakes up in this separate reality where he's not the only one shelled. There's tons of other people that are shelled. Once again, that's connecting back to the Qliphoth. It's the hell realms of reality where people's souls get shelled. And you'll notice that that place where he wakes up is a tunnel system, okay? It's a tunnel system. And this is the exact same thing as the tunnels of Set that are right behind the Sephiroth. So you'll know he wakes up, there's all those shells, and then there is tunnel systems connected to these hell realms. So yes, he cracks out of that shell, then the soul fluid spills out, and as soon as that soul fluid comes out, there is this robot that flies over to him. And you'll notice that this robot doesn't look like a normal robot, right? If you've seen The Matrix, you'll see that this robot literally has spider-like qualities. It literally looks like, two ways to describe it, like some sort of floating robotic octopus or some floating robot spider. And that's exactly what it's associated with. That is a spider that resides in the tunnel system on the movie The Matrix. And this would be a spider within the tunnels of Set. And you'll notice that as Neo is breaking out of the shell, trying to free his soul, that's what that's symbolic of, this spider comes to try and stop him from doing that. Okay, the spider shows up to try and prevent him from being able to wake up and uncover himself and break fully out. So then he ends up, getting rid of the spider, and that's the purpose. Okay, that is the purpose. So that would be a great example of a spider within the tunnels of Set and what the spiders are pre-programmed to do to the person that is trying to wake up and fully uncover their soul and free and build their soul fluid up. Spiders are programmed to come and try and stop you from doing that. It's just a part of the initiatory system. That's why the initiatory system is challenging, because you are going to have to deal with opposition, occult opposition, hidden opposition that is built in to this initiatory path-working system. It is not a free ride. You are going to have to face challenges, and they are archetypal challenges built in to the multiverse, okay? So another example of the spider can be seen in the movie Lord of the Rings, where you have Frodo being led by Smeagol, and you can think of the entire journey of Frodo being led by Smeagol. You can think of Smeagol as being some sort of demonic force that is guiding him through his Universe B initiations or his underworld initiations. And you'll notice that Frodo is literally going on a path working. And Smeagol, being the demonic force that's guiding him, is telling him, I know the shortcuts, I know the secrets, follow me, I know the path. And this is all symbolic of deep occult initiation. So, you know, they go on this journey and they go through all the different pathways, they take certain shortcuts, yada yada yada. Their end goal is to get to the essentially the volcano to throw the ring into. But you'll notice, I believe it's in the last movie of the Lord of the Rings series, where just before they get to the volcano to throw the ring in, Smeagol tries to deceive Frodo. Okay, he tries to trick Frodo because remember, Smeagol wants the ring, he wants the power, and Frodo's trying to destroy it, and it's slowly and surely possessing him at the same time. So, long story short, Smeagol deceives Frodo and leads him to, if you've seen The Lord of the Rings, the last series, you would see that Smeagol leads him to a spider, a very big mother spider. And that spider stings Frodo and completely paralyzes him. And that is another example of the tunnels of Set and the spiders. It is not random that they are using spiders in these very popular movies. You even see it in Harry Potter. There's that whole movie of Harry Potter. I'm forgetting which one it is, but there's a whole scene of spiders. Okay, the spiders are very prominent because they're directly connected to Universe B and the tunnels of Set, and the people that are in charge or used to be in charge of these movie productions were in direct connection to occult orders like the Golden Dawn, the Freemasons, OTOs, Rosicrucians, Knights Templars, all of them, that are telling them how to structure the movies because they understand that observation of a movie that is going to get a lot of viewers, meaning a lot of observation, that is going to create a ritual. And yeah, so the movie itself is a big ritual, and that's why they're incorporating ritualistic phenomena or ritualistic scenes within the movie. So Frodo gets led to the spider and attacked and paralyzed. And that's ritualistic in nature. When you're going through the tunnels of Set as an initiate, you're going to have to face the spiders. But you're going to have the tools you need to overcome them if you're an initiate working through Universe B. Meaning you approach Universe B in a ruthless manner. Meaning you're going to suck everything dry and you're going to gain the power of it. Now, if you're dumped in the tunnels of Set, the realm of spiders that want to eat you alive and destroy you, and you think you're in Universe A, working with the regular archetypal energies of evolution, then you can see how that is a formula for disaster. Because you're now in a realm where there are set in stone enemies to try and prevent you from reaching the source within you, and you think you're on this path of spiritual enlightenment or spiritual evolution, and that you're doing the right thing, meaning you think, oh, nothing can really stop me because I'm doing the right thing, and you know, I'm doing what source wants me to do within myself. But really you're just misunderstood because you were using false, inverted, Kabbalistic information, and that fucks up a lot of people because now the spiders are going to feed off of you. Okay, so now me having worked through the tunnels of Set in Universe B and the Clip-Off, I know about the spiders. I know very well about the spiders. Very well, and I've seen them manifest many times. So to give you an idea of how these spiders can manifest in physical life, in physical reality, is they are energies. So these spiders are demonic energies, okay? And they are basically under the governance of the feminine demonic forces that make up the tunnels. So once again, if you study the night side of Eden, you will see that the 22 tunnels of Set each have their own names, okay? And every one of those names is one of the feminine demonic forces that is basically the complete ruler of that tunnel itself, okay? So that feminine force that is the tunnel, that force has control over the spiders that reside within those tunnels and within certain areas of the tunnels of Set, okay? So, long story short, the spiders, their goal is to try and suck certain types of energy, life force, out of you or out of the person traveling through them or the person that's dumped into them to then give back to those feminine spirits, those feminine forces that are the tunnels themselves, because the more that they do that, the stronger the tunnel system becomes. Okay, that's why, actually I'm not going to go there, I'm not going to say that. But yes, the more that the spiders succeed and suck people dry and torture them and get the energy they need from the person, whether the person's aware of it or not, the stronger the tunnel system becomes because they're giving it to the feminine spirits that make up the tunnels. And then you can even go farther and you know, talk about spirits that rule over those feminine demonic forces. Like you have Lilith, who's one of the main underworld queen rulers of the entire universe B in general. So you could go as far as saying that those tunnels of Set feminine forces that are collecting the energy from humans through their spiders, feeding it back to them, you could say that Lilith is collecting energy from those tunnels. That's why the Qliphoth and the tunnels of Set go hand in hand, and they're both in Universe B. So Lilith can collect that, and then you have higher aspects of Lilith, which would be like Hecate. Okay? Even the Scarlet Woman is higher than Lilith. But Hecate is one of the overarching forces, like the overarching dark feminine force. I don't know a force that goes above Hecate in regards to demonic forces, feminine demonic forces. So there is a real hierarchy to it, and there's a purpose of why these things exist, because it feeds the system, it feeds the tunnels. And the tunnels you can think of as a filtration system for high-level initiates and low-level initiates, people that really have the potential to achieve the source within themselves and potentially control the world, and people that don't really have what it takes and think that they have what it takes and are too self-important, too egotistical, and try to do it and then damn themselves. It's that serious. That's why, obviously, with what I'm explaining, you should be able to pick up on that you need to be ruthless going through this process. Because if you think that this is a joke, if you think this is a game, if you think, from self-importance that you can just jump into the system of initiation and start making progress or whatever you may think, you're putting your life at risk, because these tunnels are no joke. And Universe B is no joke. It is the realm of chaos. It is the realm of having to be receptive to deep, dark truths of yourself and of the world around you and cosmic law around you. Meaning you're going to have to figure out the truths behind evolution itself, and that's tough. Okay, it's very tough when you have a mindset of how you think the world works and how you think things operate and how they should operate, and then having that destroyed in you, broken down completely. That's tough. And a lot of people, when their egos get broken down to that degree, over and over and over again, they go insane. They give up. Okay, this is a lot of people. So you don't want to be dabbling in this stuff if you're not gonna have what it takes to be ruthless. Okay, I'm just telling you. Like, if you don't want to believe me, don't believe me. Okay. So with that being said, the way that the spiders will manifest in people is, you can imagine, since the spiders are energies, they are archetypal energies that are programmed to stop you, they will manifest in humans around you, and those humans will be people that will carry the qualities of the tunnel that you're in. And remember, the person will be infested by the spider, which will try to stop you. So for example, let's say that you're in the tunnel of, let's say for example, you're in the tunnel of the devil, right? So that would be associated with the Hebrew letter Ayin, which stands for I. Let's see. And that would go from the sphere of Hod into Tifereth. Okay? So, if you're in the tunnels of Set and you're dealing with the devil archetype, then there is a tunnel of Set that is associated with that exact same pathway. The devil. I don't know off the top of my head, but if you read the book Night Side of Eden, you will see where the devil archetypal tunnel is on the Sephiroth. The inversion is the tunnel of Set for the same tunnel, and it has its own name associated with it. So there will be a spider within that tunnel that is under the agency or control of the tunnel demonic force, the feminine demonic force that is the tunnel itself. And she will send that spider to try and prevent you from traversing through the tunnel. You can think of it as a test. It literally is a test, is an initiation. Okay? And if it's the devil, then we look at the front side, the Sephirothic version of the devil, and what we experience with that initiatory energy is restriction. We experience the ability to have to challenge something within ourselves. That would be the Sephirothic tunnel universe A version of dealing with the archetype of the devil, meaning you will realize there are certain things that you need to restrict within yourself. You can think of the devil as being connected to Saturnian energies too. There is something that you may be addicted to. There's something that you may be holding on to that you have to either let go or stop yourself from doing. You have to make certain sacrifices, right? That would be the Sephirothic Universe A version of the devil tunnel. Now, when we flip it into the tunnels of Set, and we're now in Universe B, that devil archetype is going to manifest, most likely, as something that is going to completely try to promote you to jump into addiction. So it's going to take the archetype of the devil and it's going to make it more challenging. So remember, the Universe A version of the devil would be like, oh, realizing that you may have an addiction or realizing you may have, things that you're holding on to. Well, the Universe B version is going to promote these devilish things. So you're going to realize people that have these issues that you're dealing with are going to show up more in your life. And they're going to offer you, hey, do you want to do this with me? Hey, we should go out and do this. Hey, this is something that I think about life. And that thing, hypothetically speaking, is what's already on your mind. Like, it could be something that you need to stop. It could be a belief system that you need to let go. And the person's manifesting, trying to encourage you to believe that. But it's sinister. You can tell that there's something off about it if you have discernment and if you're ruthless and you trust your intuition. So you can see the difference between Universe A tunnel system and Universe B tunnels of Set tunnel system. So it will try to promote those issues that you have, and by resisting them or by understanding that something's wrong and observing, simply observing. It doesn't have to be complex. Like, if someone's promoting a bad habit to you and that you keep seeing it manifest, all you have to do is observe and say, no, trust your intuition. I'm good, and you do that enough. And that's very powerful. The ability to observe, the ability to recognize, wow, I'm not gonna give into this because my intuition's telling me not to. That's powerful, and that builds up. Universe B is receptive. So if you think that you're going to be able to prove to that tunnel of Set, the devil aspect, if you think you can prove yourself in Universe B, thinking like, oh, I'm going to prove to people that they can't have me give in to my attachments or addictions, they're going to keep manifesting. The spider will keep manifesting because the spider's trying to burn you out. It's trying to take energy from you. So the idea that you may have of trying to prove is coming from self-importance and coming from ego. Meaning, in your mind, you're like, I'm going to prove to myself, I'm going to prove to the world around me that they can't break me, they can't break me. And that will lead to an ego death, and that will lead to a burnout simultaneously, because you're always trying to prove, and the spider will keep manifesting, keep manifesting, keep manifesting, trying to promote you to hold on to these certain belief systems and trying to potentially go into certain types of addiction, if we're going to be talking about the devil archetype, because that's what the devil archetype can be associated with. So in Universe B, it's more so you know who you are, and you don't need to say a word about it. It's the power of silence, which is also mentioned in the Carlos Castaneda series, literally in the book called The Power of Silence. So that is a Universe B concept. It is the power of silence. You're not proving anything to anybody. You're just simply acting on what you know is in your best interest, because it's a deep intuition or a deep inner knowing that you have. So you're not proving anything. You're not trying to resist certain things to the degree where you think if you resist it hard enough, it won't show up anymore. No, rather you're letting them in, and you're trying to understand why they keep coming. And that is an act of vampirism, an act of sucking in that energy. So you completely, when the spider shows up in a human being trying to promote you to have ideologies or belief systems that are corrupt, or try to fall into certain areas of addiction with the devil archetype that we're talking about, then you suck the spider dry, where you just listen. You understand the spider. Why are you doing this to me? Huh, interesting. Oh, so this is where you're at. Okay, so this is where you're coming from. Interesting, very interesting. You're not making any solid statements like, oh, you are bad and I need to put an end to you. I need to end you now. No, it's just listening and understanding and simply observing, because now you're sucking in the energy of the spider and you're taking its power rather than it sucking energy out of you, making you think like you need to prove yourself to the spider. And this is a very simple example of how these spiders can manifest. And on the real path of real occult initiation, and when I say real, I mean the proper way, the most effective way. You know, you can do it however you want, but what I teach on my channel in regards to the mindset and the way that you want to be approaching Universe B, I'm telling you this is the most effective way to approach it, the most powerful way to approach it, okay? And the safest way to approach it. But there are other ways to approach it, but I would not recommend them, because I've seen how it transforms a person's energy body. I've seen how it affects the person's psyche, because they go through hell and they don't have the right foundation of intent. So they get taken advantage of a lot more than the person who enters completely ruthless, completely with the intent of achieving the source within them, no matter what it takes, completely willing, ready, and able to suck every spirit dry to increase their power. That is the person that does it successfully and the quickest. Then you have all these other people that are trying to save the world. They're trying to be nice to the spiders. They're trying to be nice to the spirits. They're trying to channel the spirits and act like the spirits are way higher than them, and they don't want to offend the spirit, or they don't want to overstep the spirit. I'm telling you, that's a formula for fucking failure. That is a formula for disaster. You are the apex predator. Don't ever forget that. Okay? And I'm speaking from personal experience. I traveled through this entire system in an extremely short amount of time compared to what it takes most people. And I've seen the reason why I was able to travel through it so quickly, and it's because of my foundational intent of wanting to achieve ultimate power and being ready, willing, and able to do whatever it takes to do that, which includes being completely ruthless. Because in my life, I've experienced the reality of the world around us, where the world doesn't give a fuck about you. You know what I mean? Like, I've been taken advantage of many times in my life. And thankfully that led me to being able to be completely ruthless. But there's not a lot of people that can embody that. So, you know, it's just up to you. The more pain you feel, the more you suffer, the more ability you have to channel ruthlessness, okay, within yourself. So let that be a testament. Maybe you need to experience more suffering, more pain. But yeah, that is how the spiders can show up, and that is how they do show up. And that was just one example with the devil archetypal energy inverted into the tunnels of Set of what the devil would be. But they can manifest many times on your path, and the goal to achieve source at an accelerated rate and really increase your power is to kill the spiders. Kill them, okay? Straight up, kill them. So what does that mean? And I've killed many spiders on my journey, many. Even before I even knew about what I'm speaking about right now, before I even knew what the spiders were, and before I even knew what the spiders were in general. I didn't know this the whole time when I was initiating. I found out that all of this information towards the end of my initiations, like already a year and a half in, is when I really became clear about all this information. It was like it just, boom! After I had crossed the abyss, everything just hit me. All this information started coming out of nowhere. And it makes sense because the abyss is Dath, which is associated with knowledge. So it makes sense why this all would come to me after the abyss and successfully crossing. So the spiders, killing them. What that means is that when you come across challengers that are being influenced by the spider, remember, they're trying to stop you. So yes, your goal is to observe them and suck them dry and understand why they're there. Why are you a spider? But then you can take action, psychically speaking, and you can use your black magic abilities, your universe B abilities, to destroy the spider. So you can use certain Klipothic spirits, certain demonic forces that you can control and send to obliterate the spiders, the person being influenced by the spider. Because if the person's being influenced by the spider, then that means that the person obviously needs, a wake-up call in their life. That if they're a vessel for the spider, that shows signs about the person themselves. They're not in alignment with their evolution. So they played the role of your enemy. So you can curse the person that is infested by the spider, which will affect the spider, and extremely and repetitively enhance your evolutionary progress. There is an energetic dynamic that when you identify your enemies being the chaos entity that tries to stop you from your achieving the source within yourself and becoming a literal embodiment of source itself, that is a transhuman being. Once again, when you attack the chaos entity that tries to stop you from doing that, and you identify who those types of people are when they show up, there is an energetic dynamic that fuels your evolution when you attack the chaos entity. When you kill something, the energy channels back to you. Okay, a lot of people don't know this. This is why black magic is so powerful. And this is why the people that rule the world are black magicians. Some are out of alignment with source, but they're still using the same technology. And some are in alignment with source using the same technology. So I'm getting power from both spectrums. And everyone who's self-similar to me is doing the same thing. So the idea where we see this in a recent movie is in Mortal Kombat. So you'll see that there is a scene where there is a woman who is within Mortal Kombat, and she's hanging out with the Chosen. Remember, the Chosen have the tattoo of the Black Dragon. And there's the guy, the cyborg guy, that has the laser that can shoot out of his eyeball. And you'll see at some point in the movie, spoiler alert, she kills him, and she didn't have a mark. The woman did not have the Black Dragon, but she was hanging out around the Mortal Kombat, the Chosen. And she was destined to be one of the Chosen. And she was already naturally very good at fighting. And she ended up killing the cyborg guy that shoots lasers out of his eye, who had the mark of the Chosen, because he used to be a part of the, he was a part of the Chosen, but then he switched sides. He ended up teaming with the side of chaos, the side of evil. And so they ended up fighting, and she killed him. And you'll notice that when she killed him, his mark of the chosen transferred over to her arm. So then she gained his mark from killing him. And it only happened after he died. And that is not for no reason. That is not a random concept. This is not just some random thing that they put in the movie or why they added this to the story of Mortal Kombat. This is a real energetic science. This is a real dynamic. When you destroy something, the energy goes back to the source of what destroyed it, if you can kill it. So the same concept with the spiders in the tunnels of Set. When you use magic, black magic, the technology of Universe B on the chaos entity that's residing in Universe B, trying to stop you from fully traveling through all of Universe B and achieving the source within you, you, by attacking the chaos entity within Universe B and killing it, being the spiders, you gain its power completely. You gain its power. And it's the same concept as I was just explaining with Mortal Kombat. And this will fuel and excel your evolution on a level that most people will never understand. I'm talking about the person who doesn't apply what I'm telling you. It will take you years longer to achieve your destination, to achieve the source within you. Years. I'm talking in the realm of 10 years longer than what it could take you. When you really understand ruthlessness and you are not afraid to use black magic and you can identify the chaos entity within the people that try to stop you, that's important. You need to be able to identify, meaning you have to be impeccable. You have to be doing everything in your best interest in alignment with your own personal evolution first. When you can do that, and then you can identify the chaos force trying to stop you from your impeccability, that is when you are in complete alignment and in a state where you're about to, if you apply what I'm saying and you attack the chaos entity, you can take all of its power and literally subtract years off of your evolutionary initiatory journey, because you're a very important evolutionary being at that point. Source, people don't understand this. Source needs people that will use Universe B black magic on the enemy. Okay, this is just a fact. It is literally the same concept as Kalki, who descends from Source and has one purpose: to just completely destroy the enemy. Okay, Source needs those people because Source right now is trying to create an entire new multiverse, because Source harvests chaos. So Source allowed everything to build itself up, created this chaotic multiverse ruled by inner elites and royal families, all that stuff in that nature, branching out through all these other occult orders that are all scum, and builds all of them up at a point in time and then destroys it completely. This is where the concept of the Mark of the Beast comes in, the apocalypse, the end times, the Antichrist, although that's coming from Judaic text and it's all twisted and perverted and inverted. This is the idea of what happens throughout history. This is a pattern of history. This is a pattern of evolution itself. Okay? So Source needs these people like myself that achieve the source connection within us, within me. So it needs me to go through this journey of traveling through the underworld with the intent of destroying the chaos entity to take ultimate power for myself, because that's what I require. If I'm going to go through this journey, I want to live a life that I want to live, and I want huge amounts of power. And obviously Source is more than happy to allow that to happen, because I'm doing Source's work. By achieving the source within myself and having the knowledge I have of the enemy and of the chaos entity, I can use my powers to destroy it. It's like every movie you've ever seen where there's an enemy, and the only way you can destroy the enemy is by kind of getting on the same side of the enemy. Meaning, for example, there's vampire movies, lots of vampire movies where there's a group of vampires that are very powerful and strong, and the only way you can kill them is by becoming a vampire yourself. For example, 31 Days of Night. is a great movie example of this concept. The only way you're going to help your loved ones and yourself, most importantly, is to destroy the vampires in this scenario. You have to become one because they have powers, and then you can destroy them. It's just a concept, you know. It's like if your enemies have AR-15s and they have heavy-duty weapons, wouldn't you want to arm yourself with the same weapons, if not better? Like, what do I look like coming at you with a bow and arrow, a wooden bow and arrow, when you have heavy artillery? It makes no sense. Rather, I'm going to invest myself in the realm of explosions and nukes, things of that nature. Fuck it. Why invest in, AR-15s when I can invest in nuclear warfare and just drop a bomb on you and everything? That's the concept, okay? So that's how you want to handle your enemies. So in real life, when I was working through this initiatory system, I dealt with many spiders, many of them. And remember, at the time, I didn't really know about this concept that I'm explaining to you guys about the spiders. But now looking back and having gone through my memory and traveled back to the past, I've seen exactly what was going on. And I see now very clearly what was happening. And it was 100% the spiders within the tunnels of S.R.D that were trying to stop me from evolving. And this is just a part of the process. This is going to happen to anyone that tries to do this initiation. There's no one that's going to get a pass. Nobody. This is how it builds you into your most powerful self too. So I would have people that would disrespect me very intentionally, and they cross boundaries with me. I've had people that threaten me. I had people that, once again, crossed very extreme boundaries with me. Like one guy took money out of my paycheck. He was a manager that I had at the time. And he took money out of my paycheck by trying to hit his quota, which resulted in me losing money. And that was not okay with me. And I was not a light worker. I wasn't going to forgive him, wasn't going to turn my cheek. I took action. And this is the mindset you want to have. And I would use black magic, my ability to use psychic warfare in the strategic way that I know how to use it. Every time I would use it on my enemies, and I would remove them, eliminate them completely. And they would deal with issues that I created because they initiated the warfare against me. I'm not going out of my way trying to create enemies. I'm not going out of my way to try and harm anybody that doesn't deserve to be harmed. But when you initiate that to me or with me, and you want to try me, I'm going to end you. I'm going to make sure you no longer exist. Okay, that's my mindset. That's my intent. I'm going to make sure you recognize that when the moment you sign that contract with me, that was the worst mistake you've ever made in your entire life. That's my mindset. And I will die for that. Meaning I will be completely ruthless, and I will do everything I need to do to put an end to my enemies. And it depends, there's different levels to enemies. Some, I can take care of them like that, and some I actually use psychic warfare on. And if I use psychic warfare on you, you better pray. Okay, you better become a Christian or something. You better find that male principle, or that you better find that Christ principle, because your life is gonna get flipped upside down, big time. And I've done it many times. Okay, so on my journey, one thing that it teaches you when you deal with these spiders is how to take care of enemies psychically. So I've had people lose jobs that they've had for years, which completely financially destroyed them. I've had people lose thousands of dollars. Like, for example, the guy that I was telling you about that took money out of my paycheck, I cursed him, used psychic warfare on him, and 3 days later, he lost over $15,000 because one of his ex-wives stole money from him. And that was right after I had cursed him. So that was caused by me. That's what happens. You take money from me, I take everything from you. He ended up losing his job too. What else? There was another person that was misleading me. All I did with this guy was intentionally fuck him up meaning I went and remote viewed myself fucking him up, and he got hit by a car. All he did was break his wrist, but he was a personal trainer, and obviously when you're a personal trainer, you need to be able to function. You need to be able to have good bone movements. He couldn't work out anymore, so he got hit by a car. That was literally roughly 3 days after he had messed with me. Once again, lots of people losing their jobs. When they tested me, I would curse them, they'd lose their job, and then from there it just goes downhill. I've lots of things. I've done lots of things. I've seen a lot of spiders. And I know how to handle them. And once again, every time I handled them, all I was doing was trusting my intuition. Like if you cross me, I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Like I know I'm not out here trying to disrespect people. I'm not out here looking for problems. I'm not out here trying to cause issues. So when you're trying to come against me and I'm being impeccable, I lead with respect. So that means that you're fucking up. You're signing a contract with me because I'm achieving the source within me and you're trying to stop that process. So you are going to go down with the chaos entity because you're obviously being influenced by it because I'm trying to achieve the source within me. If you were trying to achieve the source within you, you wouldn't be trying to stop me from achieving the source within me because by me achieving source benefits you. Have you ever heard the saying, real recognize real? Yeah, it's the concept of self-similarity. For people that are really on this path of achieving the source within themselves to reach ultimate power, you're going to be allied with other people doing the same thing. Naturally, you're going to recognize that. So anyone that tries to stop that, they're obviously being influenced by chaos. And, obviously the main reason I know this is because I'm impeccable. I'm doing whatever it takes and what I need to do to make sure I'm making wise decisions. I'm not out here doing a bunch of drugs. I'm not out here fucking around because then maybe I'm creating issues or chaos that I'm not aware of. Maybe it is my fault, right? I have to be very receptive and reflect on myself first to make sure I'm impeccable. But if I'm impeccable, which is once again a primary principle coming from Carlos Castaneda's series, The Fire from Within, The Power of Silence, being impeccable. If I'm impeccable, I know what I'm doing is right. And when you try to stop that, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to end it, psychically speaking. And yeah, once again, I've done that many times. And that's part of the initiatory system. You gain a lot of wisdom when you take care of enemies. You learn how to use psychic warfare in a very powerful way. And you'll notice it's a part of the traveling through Universe B. There are going to be people that try to stop you. For example, the spiders residing within the tunnels of Set. Okay? So yeah, other than that, that's going to wrap it up. This is definitely a really intense and deep subject. I will be covering in the future as well because I didn't really get a chance. This video is already long enough, way too long. I didn't get a chance to explain the powers of the spiders because there's a lot more about the spiders. If you want to learn about the spiders, definitely get that. Try to get a hold of the Kenneth Grant book that talks about them. Yeah, Kenneth Grant has an entire book where he channeled a spider. I believe it was called Obea, something like that. But he literally is like channeling a spider and writes an entire book from it. And it's all connected back to the tunnels of Set and Universe B. Not saying that everything the spider told him is correct, but you can gain a lot of value from hearing his experience having channeled the spider. And it talks about certain poisons that the spiders can produce and how you can use those poisons, which is also connected to the tunnels of Set. Remember, every tunnel is associated with different challenge, disease, and poison, so to speak. But when you initiate through it properly and you suck that energy in, you're now energetically able to use those poisons however you like. Use those diseases however you like, whether it's to heal them, use the poisons to empower, to heal, or to kill, to destroy, to make suffer, things in that nature. Okay? So I'm going to leave it there. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. Hit the notification bell because I post videos as often as I can. And definitely hit the subscribe button because I love to see my subscribers shoot through the roof. Okay? Definitely make sure you check out my Patreon. On my Patreon, I have exclusive content. Some of that content is going to be geared towards actual occult practices that I perform on camera. And then the other bit of the content is going to be in regards to Kabbalah, where I'm literally breaking down the entire roadmap of occult initiation. This is the most important thing to understand getting into the occult, is understanding Kabbalah, because the people that rule the world are using this system of Kabbalah. This is a real life system that has existed for millennia, that is very solid in the astral plane, meaning you're going to have interaction with it when you start to take your spiritual self-development seriously. So I break down all of the spheres from the Sephiroth going down to the Qliphoth. I give you the symbolism within the spheres, the planetary energies, things of that nature. I talk about the spirits associated with the spheres. And then I break down my own personal experience having initiated through those spheres myself, which is very valuable, okay? Yeah. So in order to gain access to all of that exclusive content, which is over 100 posts, you have to at least be a Tier 2 member. In order to be a Tier 2, it costs $9.95 a month, and that would be a reoccurring payment. But if you do the math, that literally will come out to less than $1 a day. So there really is no reason why you shouldn't be able to afford that with the value that is on my Patreon, okay? Now, altogether, I have 4 tiers. So as you go up in tiers, the benefits increase as well. I have a literal course that I just released, and I'm starting to release more videos on. It's not completed yet, but I'm releasing videos as we go. It's like a progression type of course, and it's going to be in regards to developing yourself to use low magic to control your reality, and at the same time prep you to get ready to get into high magic if that's what your intention is later down the road, which would be in direct connection to Universe B initiation, things in that nature. So this course, in order to gain access to it, you have to at least be a Tier 3 or up, Tier 4 member. And basically, that's going to be the same concept. It's going to be monthly payments. The price is going to go up. I'm going to let you check that out for yourself. So yeah, so go ahead and look into that if that's something that you're interested in following this course. And then for my 4th tier, the highest tier, that is going to be a tier where I am literally performing a service for you to change your energy field to get you into a more Universe B energetic state. So it's basically going to make you more receptive. It's going to make you have the ability to be able to feed off of chaos, to increase your power, to control your life through your intent, rather than just giving your energy away all the time to chaos and losing energy from that without the ability to really cause change and effects. So I perform a very intense and strategic ritual on the 29th of every month for my top tier members, the new ones. Once the ritual is performed once, it's a permanent energetic ritual. So, it only needs to be performed once for the new top tier members, okay? And then when that time comes around, on my Patreon, I show you everything, all the tools that I use, how I perform the ritual, and everything that's linked in with the ritual itself, okay, so that you can see what's going on. So yes, that's going to be the top tier, Tier 4. It's called Vampire Service. I'll let you check that out for yourself as well. And with that being said, I would like to give a special shout out to the highest tier members of the Patreon. Their names are going to be mentioned in parentheses below this video. So huge shout out to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. And then another shout out to all of my Patreon members in general. I highly appreciate all of you as well. Huge shout out to you, ladies and gentlemen. And then a third shout out to all of my YouTube subscribers. I appreciate all of you. Next thing I'd like to say is if you would like to book your own personal tarot card reading with me, go to the second link below in the description. It's going to say Square Appointments. There you can book a tarot card reading with me where I break down the present moment, what you're currently going through feeling, your near future and long-term future. So I pull 3 cards and I go into much depth with these 3 cards. I can literally figure out exactly where you're located at currently in your spiritual evolutionary journey. So I can connect back the cards to Kabbalah, and I break down the cards in a very subjective way. It's not just your typical traditional reading, meaning I pull this card and this card always means the same thing. It could mean something different to who I'm doing the reading for. That's how well I'm breaking these cards down, and I'm using all the symbolism that I'm seeing on the card, and I'm also allowing my intuition to tell me exactly what it is that I need to communicate to you as well. So it's a very in-depth reading, and once again, one of the very unique aspects of the reading is I can locate where you are in your spiritual evolutionary journey on Kabbalah, so you can see where you are on the Kabbalistic tree right now. And I can give you information for what to expect in the near future and going into your long-term future, which could be very valuable, especially if you end up joining the Patreon and then you study the spheres, and then you can see where you're located and study more on that sphere so that you have an even stronger understanding of where you're currently at in your spiritual journey. Okay? So once again, if you'd like to book that reading with me, check out the second link below. It says Square Appointments. Okay? Other than that, I'm going to wrap it up here. I appreciate all of you for tuning in, and I will see you all on the next video. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day or night, wherever you are. Peace.